Hello, everyone. I'm excited to present to you the Tableau Public Featured Author Cohort. It's a very special cohort featuring the recent graduates of the Millennials and Data. And with us today, besides the Tableau Public Featured Authors, we have people that work with Millennials and Data, including Chantilly Jaggernauth, who's a Zen Master and a founder of Millennials and Data, and Eric Balash, who's a trainer with Millennials and Data. So I just want you to talk a little bit about Millennials and Data and how what impact it's had on you.
For sure. Thanks so much. Hello everyone. Chantilly Jaggernauth. I started Millennials and Data in 2018 at Howard University, which is the school that I graduated from, with the mission to bridge the data literacy gap. So I spent some time working in corporate, and I found that these users that I was providing data insight to or Tableau dashboards to, they just they weren't data literate. And the goal was that I wanted to bridge this gap starting with millennials, because these were the individuals who were going from college or early entry level professionals who were starting their roles. And I thought, if those individuals were trained, then we have a better likelihood of bridging this gap within the corporate environment. So the program went on for about 2 years, and we started to expand. And I was like, okay, professionals started coming and saying, hey, I'm in my career and I want to be data literate now. This is something that I don't have. And I said, okay, I can add on a professional cohort, but I didn't want to mix the student with the professionals. So that's where I brought on Eric, who's been an amazing trainer for me, and he actually trains the students. He's the head coach for the student cohort, and the head coach for the professional cohort. And it's just had an amazing impact on my journey so far. Just hearing how the students have been able to get jobs using this, how they've been able to grow in their careers. I started Millennials and Data to help students. Now it's helping professionals, and just the impact personally that it's had on my life is just amazing. Eric, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. I remember seeing Chantilly speak at my first Tableau conference in New Orleans. And she was up there presenting about millennials and data. And I was like, oh man, I wish this is something that I could have been a part of when I was in college, or if my school had a program like this. And so I remember seeing her there for the first time, and then that's when I still lived back home in Pennsylvania. Then I moved down to the DC area, and I was like, oh, let me reach out to Chantilly. I know she's around here, so connected with her and was like, hey, I love your program. I think it's awesome. I'd love to help in any way that I can. So I joined the program for the MAD 3 cohort, kind of just assisting Chantilly, learning the ropes and everything. And then I was able to teach my first cohort, the last one with this group that's here today. So with the cohort number 4. And I absolutely loved it. I mean, like I said, I wish I had a program like this in college. So being able to kind of give back and help millennials be more data literate was just, I was really happy to do it. So now we're on to our 5th cohort. I think Chantilly, we celebrated having our total of 50 students go through the program.
Yep, 50 students as of MAD 4, 50 students who have graduated the program. And we're set to double that number this year. We've already accepted 25 students and professionals into the MAD 5 cohort. So we have a big group right now.
That's great to hear. One thing that I noticed is that the community has been so excited about this Tableau Public Featured Author Cohort, because it's the first of this kind. There hasn't been a student cohort or anything like that where everybody is connected somehow, besides just being part of the data fam. So how did you feel about seeing the community outpouring of support regarding your cohort, and how it's bridged into the Tableau Public Featured Author cohort?
Yeah, so the community have just been super helpful and super receiving since we introduced them to MAD. I'll never forget back in March of 2018, right? The outpouring of love from the data fam has always been just so welcoming to the students. I just really want to give a shout out to Eric for putting this together, right? You know, he stepped up and he was like, hey, it would be a good idea, because he's now a Tableau Public Ambassador as well. So that was like his mission when he started. He was like, I'm going to get these students featured. And I said, you know, you go for it, bud. And he went ahead and he worked behind the scenes, did his magic. I honestly don't know how he did it, but the feedback has been amazing. The data fam has always welcomed the math students. That's why I always tell the math students to make sure you're participating in the community and getting to know individuals. It's good to network. It's good to connect with these people. They're going to be at some point like an extended family, especially when in the near future, or hopefully the far future, we'll be able to go, back to conference. So Eric, I don't know about you, but I'll let you stay out.
Yeah. I remember, just working with Tableau and always seeing the featured authors up there. It was really excited when I was able to be a featured author, and just the outpouring of love from the community and support, and just, the congratulations and just getting connected with more and more people was just an amazing feeling. And so, I know all these students worked super hard throughout the cohort. So being able to give them the chance to be up there and, just showcase their work and connect them with more folks in the Tableau community was just, really exciting to see. And I know, like, the day that it was posted, everyone was retweeting it and sharing it. So I'm just really happy to see all of that up there.
It's great to see. And I was excited when it was presented that way, because it was surprising to see something so cohesive as far as a student group that could be part of a Tableau Public featured author cohort. And we don't have everybody here today. Big reason is that the time is super early. Most of us here are up at 5:30 or 6:30 in the morning for this. Kareem is up at 3:30 a.m. Participating in this. So it's great, those that can come and wake up so early to be part of this discussion, because it's very inspirational to a lot of people looking in that, someday maybe I could be a Tableau Public featured author. And it's just a great accomplishment and a great feeling. So it's great to see, and it's great that the community is supportive of this as well, and that it continues to support things like this. So and engage with anybody that wants to engage with them. So I'm excited to see that, and it's great that everybody is here that can be here today. So with that, we're going to start with Allison Wright. She's a Tableau Public featured author. You're the closest one to me besides Cigar on my personal screen, so I'm going with you. So basically, I want you to talk about your data journey before entering the MAD student cohort, and talk a little bit about that, any things that you worked on along the way to prepare you for it, and then later on we'll ask about your work with MAD.
Sure. So I first got introduced to Tableau back in 2016, but just as an end user. So I really didn't know too much about it. I just was like, all right, this is giving me the information that I need. That was about as far as it went. Fast forward about 3 years, at my most recent job, I had used it again. So I did go through a training at the time, but I would say I wasn't in love with Tableau at that time, despite how, big the community was. And around that time, I actually met Chantilly. She had come in to just as a presenter, and she was talking about her experience, and then she had brought up the MAD program. And the entire time she was talking about it, I was just thinking, wow, this sounds great. This sounds exactly like the thing that I need. But I guess to go along with my background, the stars never aligned. And it wasn't until, we were all stuck at home last year with coronavirus, that she reached out to me on Twitter. It was like, hey, my next cohort's coming up. Would you like to join? And I said, yes. And not looked back. Like, the point that I was at before compared to now is like completely different. And I've learned so much along the way, and I feel more accomplished after going through the MAD program, for sure. I love Tableau.
And we'll talk about that in a second. One thing I do want to ask you though is, were you working on other BI tools for visualization before focusing on Tableau, or were they other, were that you working more on Tableau just kind of in a vacuum?
The only other tools that I had worked with was, everyone pretty much has used Excel at this point, and some Power BI.
Awesome. So next up, we'll speak with Garima Anand. So I remember when Garima first came onto the scene because she asked me a couple questions about a viz she was working on, and it was exciting to talk to her because she was, you could tell she was just starting with Tableau, but she was very excited to be part of working with Tableau. So it was great to see her in the community, and she's blossomed in the community as far as being very active and participatory in the community. So before working with MAD, what was your data journey? Did you work with Tableau a lot before that? And if not, what other BI tools were you working with?
Thank you for the introduction, Adam. So I started working with Tableau quite some time back, in the sense that almost a year and a half back. That's when I got introduced to the tool. But even before that, what really got me excited about Tableau was a visualization that I saw by Hans Rosling on 200 years of growth, 200 years of growth, and that kind of really struck me in a positive way. From the point of view of being an economist and seeing so much of economic data in text, being able to see that translated in visuals in front of you, and that too in 4 minutes, completely blew my mind away. I really got amazed at the fact that being able to retain all that information that takes I don't know, like a couple minutes or even days to kind of completely keep in mind, sustained in my mind for sustained in my mind for a longer time. So that got me introduced to the whole journey of data visualization. I started digging into finding out what kind of makes this happen, and I stumbled across Tableau as a tool. I started dabbling in it, playing around with it, and really that was around that time when I started talking to people in the community, and just asking them about what this tool is all about, and how does one really start using it, or questions surrounding making of visualizations using Tableau as a tool. It was so literally it was me with not much knowledge, just jumping into the community, asking questions, literally swimming with the sharks, trying to figure out a solution and a way to kind of learn this and get better and better at it. And the more I engaged, the more I started drawing business, the more insight I started getting, the more I started enjoying the tool. And just it was around that time when I honestly thought about getting some kind of training in this field, so that I could formalize it in a way, but at the same time see if there's other things that I could learn beyond what I already knew, because all of this was pure curiosity and pure interest in learning about data visualization from a bigger perspective. And that's when I got introduced to MAD. And I hadn't spoken to Chantilly. I had heard about Chantilly on Twitter, in different spaces. And what really excited me was, the walk. I mean, it was on Twitter that I saw, her talking about MAD. And what got me excited was the fact that most of the work that she talked about in terms of, MAD helps students create like a ton of visualizations. I could see all of that in front of me. I could see the development that takes place, and that really stuck out to me in a way where you're able to see how things change in front of you. So that's when I signed up for MAD, and literally there's been no looking back after that. I mean, I know that I remember bothering Chantilly with like a bunch of my questions early on, and being very excited about things, and curious to learn more about Tableau and SQL, and all of that got me started, and I can say that I've not looked back since then, and I'm super happy to be there. And I can say, like, one thing I can say for sure, that the community has been instrumental in kind of building my understanding of data visualization from a broader angle, and Tableau from a micro perspective. So I cannot thank the community enough for this. And I hadn't dabbled in other BI tools early on. Tableau was one of the only tools that I kind of dabbled in. I'd basically learned a bunch about Excel, and kind of worked with Excel before, but nothing other than that. I'd heard about, like, SQL and Alteryx, but I got more of my understanding through MAD.
Thank you so much. And we'll talk more about your work with MAD in a bit, but thank you so much for that. Next up, we have Nia Hill. She's another recent graduate of the MAD cohort and a Tableau Public featured author, of course. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your journey before MAD, as well as anything you worked on in school that can help you prepare for the data visualization community.
Yes. So my answer would probably be the shortest, because my data journey was non-existent. I was an accounting major in undergrad, so I didn't really have like that much exposure to data or anything like that. I had a concentration in information systems, but I didn't like take those hardcore like data classes. I only took like introductory information systems courses, so like coding and stuff like that, but nothing really hardcore data. Use Excel and Sheets to create my bar chart, or my bar graphs and my line charts and all of that. But yeah, I didn't really have like I don't have an extensive history like with data. I think I still knew how to like, interpret it and understand it and everything, but mainly because it was just kind of like level 1 data that was sent to me. So it wasn't like big data or anything like that. So I've had some classwork in undergrad where I had to like dig into some data, like quantitative business and business analytics, where I would like, be given a prompt and a set of data and like use that data to answer questions. But yeah, I don't really have like a lot of history with using data before MAD. But I know we'll speak more to like after MAD and during MAD and everything like that. But before, it wasn't really there.
Thank you so much, Nia. Next up, we have Varun, and you have been a big part of the community since you've been even before MAD. So it's great to see you with this cohort and developing your skills. So before working with MAD, what did you do as far as data viz is concerned, or data analytics is concerned, and how did that help you prepare for this?
So before joining MAD, like I was like working with different data sets since like I was pursuing masters in information systems. So we had like a lot of data analytics courses which involved like coding, but we also had like couple of programs where I was introduced to Tableau, but it was basically like just creating map or like bar chart, but not creating any dashboards as such. But like I was like I used to enjoy coding, but I couldn't like see it as a job where I could do it like day in or day out. So I was really struggling to find something which I like where I could see my passion. But after joining MAD, I started like really enjoying Tableau a lot, and I could see like doing Tableau day in and day out. So personally for me, like MAD helped me a lot in finding my passion as well. So
And we'll talk, we'll talk about MAD in a second. As far as your work in Tableau, most of the MAD's work is more along the lines of business relevant dashboards as opposed to data art that we see so often in the community. So how do you bridge the gap?
I think like business dashboards are really important because like when you give interviews, people won't ask you about like any fancy dashboard which you created, like make over Monday. Like in all my interviews, I was asked about my business dashboards, which I created in MAD. So definitely that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, because a potential employer will like to see the fancy artistic dashboards, but they won't understand them. There's nobody that could understand a lot of those dashboards. I love them from a perspective of just looking at them and saying, wow, that's pretty. But as far as usability and potentially getting hired, it's great to see the use and sophisticated usage of business dashboards. And that's what I love seeing. Next up, we'll go backwards and talk about your work with MAD, and specifically, how has mentoring with MAD helped you develop your data skills?
So for me, in MAD, like it has, as I said before, also like it helped me a lot. Like in terms of mentoring, like wherever I used to get stuck, I just used to text Eric on Slack, and he was like so active in helping. We used to like set up calls, and like even he used to work at a firm, Lovelytics. So he used to set up after 5 o'clock, and then he used to like help me for hours throughout the process. So it was like really nice, like since he was so active and like he used to like guide me, like, okay, check out these resources. I think these resources will help you a lot in creating this, what you are looking for. So yeah, like mentoring by Eric was really good.
And what are a couple most important things you learned at MAD that you didn't know before?
Definitely LOD calculation. Still day I kind of struggle with it, but yeah.
Most people do.
And also action parameters, like I wasn't aware about those.
That's true.
And yeah, I learned that in MAD.
That's awesome. And next up, we'll go backwards, Anita. Now, so when you were with MAD, how has that impacted your data viz capabilities? What are a couple of the most important things you learned there, and how has mentoring played a part in your development?
Yes. So first I want to mention how everybody from my school, I also went to Howard, and everybody from Howard was a part of the program. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to apply because clearly it's popping. And it was for real because I learned a lot, like I was on level 0 when I went in with data visualization and Tableau, and I got my certification, so I know something. But I would say like I'm definitely more knowledgeable with Tableau. Everything really, still stuck with me. Definitely the calculations. Honestly, something that was like, not as spoken of is like just the color schemes, like stuff like that. So like organizing your dashboard, making sure that it's understandable, that people can look at it and like understand the story you're trying to tell. I think my storytelling skills have gotten better. Really just making sure that I use like the right visuals, the right charts, the right colors and stuff like that. So making sure that people understand what I'm trying to say, because I think that's one of the main reasons Tableau exists, is to tell a story. And so that, I think, just like presentation wise, that's what stuck with me. And I also like how we were basically consultants each week. So we got assignments where it was like, we have a client and they have a need. And so we would use Tableau to make sure that their needs are met. And so I also like that, how it was kind of like, we were put in some tough situations and like some great learning experiences. But yeah, I learned a lot. The mentoring, I can definitely agree. I was blowing up Eric's inbox and he would always respond. And yeah, it was a great experience. Like he was always available. And even my classmates, I would be texting them because I'd be probably working on the assignments really late. I know like Eric is a working man. And so I'd be reaching out to them at midnight, like, how do you guys add a space? Because, this is hard. But like my classmates helped, Eric helped, everybody was very helpful. And I'm really excited to be able to use Tableau in the future. I don't know like when it will play a role or how, but I do know that I want to use it because it's a really powerful tool to, again, tell that story and to make and to influence decisions.
That's awesome. And yeah, Eric is so busy with that. He wanted to participate in Mentoring Meetup, a program that Sagar and I work on, but he's just so busy and concerned with helping and making sure he's available for his students that he couldn't participate at that in this time. But it's great to see the impact he's having on his students, and that's expected. He's a heck of a bizzer and a great guy. And I miss his Data Fan Valentines, by the way.
Oh yeah, I plan to post those again soon. Don't worry.
Awesome. So next is Garima. If you could talk about your role with MAD, how it's helped you progress, how has mentoring been a factor? In addition to that, what did you learn while you're there? A couple of main things that you learned.
Okay, so as I said, like I joined MAD to kind of formalize my training and kind of bridge the loopholes that existed in my understanding. So MAD really introduced me and got me to face my mental blocks straight up. So for me, my mental blocks literally resided in as I said, actions and maybe creating parameters and maybe understanding more about data connections. So I was able to tackle that with the training that was provided by Chantilly at MAD. And yes, I mean, it's been a brilliant journey so far. I remember every time right before, the assignment deadline, one day before I used to kind of, message Chantilly on Slack and ask her that, okay, listen, I'm getting stuck here and I don't know how to kind of, get through this problem. Could we probably just have like a video call or something? And, you could just walk me through the whole thing or, explain what I'm doing wrong. So, I mean, I found like a great mentor in Chantilly, from the point of view of explaining everything to kind of bridging the loopholes that existed and just getting really, really good at using Tableau. Something that most of my portfolio really consisted of a bunch of art vizzes, data art from Makeover Monday before I joined MAD. And then I got the opportunity to create some business dashboards. And as Varun mentioned clearly that, those are the dashboards that any potential employer would be interested in talking to you about or in learning more about. And that's pretty much how I got my first job. I walked my potential employer through, one of the business dashboards I actually created. So, I mean, I can only say that I've gained a lot and I still gain, I've gained a lot from the MAD community, from joining MAD, and the benefits and the amount that I've learned has been tremendous, and it's just going to keep increasing and keep progressing. So so that's what I think about MAD. I mean, it's a great cohort to participate in, and if you really you're interested in solidifying your learning and kind of having a mentor out there to kind of explain things that bother you about Tableau. If you started out on your own, then it can be nothing better than that. I mean, that's literally pretty much the best that you've got. And I've had like a fantastic time with my classmates as well. I mean, they've always been very, very proactive about helping each other and being part of the group. And I mean, it's been amazing at the curiosity that my classmates possessed about the tool. And I mean, that kind of is very infectious, so that kind of rubs onto the other person, and then you just keep developing and growing from each other's experiences. So it's been really, really fun being part of the MAD community for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And next up, we have Allison. If you could talk about your work with MAD, a couple of best things that you learned while working with MAD, and how has mentoring played a role?
The MAD experience
Yes.
has been
all caps
absolutely amazing. There's things that I did not know or understand prior to joining MAD, just proper placement, floating versus tiled, color, just everything. And then
are you team float or team tile or team both?
I think I prefer floating just because it's easier to maneuver, particularly for more, as Garima said, artistic dashboards. You kind of like if you're just like dealing with tiles, like it doesn't give me enough flexibility. So learning from that has been very, very helpful. Chantilly's great. I learned so much from her. I still refer back to her videos and go onto her blog if I ever need help. I'll message her. But yeah, it's all the resources that she's given us. The group that I was in is great. We keep in touch with each other pretty much on a weekly basis. So I've gained friends from this, which has been wonderful. In addition to that, I've definitely built up a lot of confidence. I feel that I can actually make dashboards that look good and are also useful.
That helps.
In terms of what two things that I've gained from the program, I would say, I have to say the community, because I don't feel like I utilized it before, and now, you know, I really try and utilize it as much as possible. And definitely calculations, for sure. For sure with calculations and just learning how to connect with different data sources and things like that. And one recent development is that I am a cohort trainee now with Eric for the new student cohort.
Awesome.
Not part of the Mad 5 crew now on the instructor side.
It's still Mad 5 or?
Now it's Mad 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
this was Mad 4 before. Your cohort was Mad 4. Now you're now you up leveled to co-training Mad 5. That's awesome.
Yes.
So going backwards for the final question is, there may be people watching this that aren't part of the community, that haven't decided to be part of the community and are afraid to be part of it. You, as far as everybody here, was hesitant at some point in joining the community. You know more now since you're an active participant in the community. What would you share to somebody that was like you, that may have been lurking and not part of the community initially, and then now that you're more part of a community, what would you say to those people that are looking on?
Everyone's just really, really helpful. Like if you put out a message to Twitter, you're most likely going to get an answer very, very quickly versus using the community board. No shame to the community board. The community board is great, but you might be waiting for a while. So definitely reach out, start following people, put your visualizations out there, post them to Twitter, and you will build up a following, and you can definitely reach out to people. You might have people coming up to you asking for help as well. So it's a great way to get back.
Can I add to that?
We're gonna, definitely. Anybody that could jump in can answer. Thank you.
Cool. I would like to add to that. I think it was easier, like having like a cohort to enter that community in with, and also having some guidance, because like I was just, Eric said, create a Tableau public profile. Okay, I'm gonna create it. Link your Twitter, I'll link it. But the community is very, very supportive. I don't really use Twitter like that. Somehow I have followers now. I posted that I got my certification on LinkedIn, and people were near tears. Like I'm like, people connected with me, and just all of that. So like the community is very supportive, like very, very supportive. And I would just say like dive in, even if you don't have like someone to enter that community with, because people, they're very encouraging, motivate you. There are a lot of resources out there when it comes to Tableau and everything like that. So I would say don't be scared. And I'm like Allison just said, like if you want to start a conversation with somebody in the Tableau community, like I'm sure they'll want to speak with you. So I would just say overall dive in.
Anything else? Does anybody else have anything to add to that?
Sure. I would like to add a little bit about the community. Even before I started with the training at MAD, my whole thing about Tableau was literally creating like a bunch of Makeover Monday vizzes and posting them out on Twitter and getting feedback from the community. that's precisely how I got in touch with you, Adam, and also that's also one of the ways in which how I got in touch with how I got in touch with Sagar as well. So I mean, it was pretty much through the community where, you know, anything Tableau related, anything data related, you know, just post a line out there, and you know, there's like a ton of people who would reach out to you, you know, to help you out with, you know, how to move forward, how to kind of, you know, go ahead in the space of data viz, and how data viz is becoming such a big, you know, such a big and important thing in the data analytics industry. So I would say that leverage that in the best way possible. And even after, you know, so for me, even after getting the job, being able to sustain those connections, you know, with hectic work schedules is, I feel, I mean, that's one advice that I would want to give to people, that sustaining those connections, being regular and consistent with posting and blogging about, you know, your visits is important. No matter you know, how busy your schedule gets, it's important to kind of give back to the community that you know, helped build you up, and you know, helped you with all the resources and feedback and you know, stuff that they give. So for me, I joined the Data Visualization Society on Slack, and the Women in Data Society as well. So I mean, this was all through pretty much through the community. So I mean, I would say that don't underestimate the power of the community, and just reach out with you know, full gusto, and I'm sure that there's something out there for you. There'll be someone who will connect with you and hopefully take you up as a mentee, and open doors for you. So I mean, I would say that just go explore and keep your minds open, and keep your keep your minds open, and also give back to the community when the time comes.
Exactly. That was excellent. And I guess I want to point out to those that don't know, the primary communities are on LinkedIn and Twitter. LinkedIn is more of a professional community. It's more engaged in process and feedback and so forth. And Twitter, people kind of let loose a bit. So you get a little bit of everything. But you do have great networking opportunities on both sides. So with Twitter, there's people that are more active on Twitter and more active to not just talk about data viz, but talk about other stuff as well, and more stuff that comes out about community and seeing a bunch of vizzes at once. If you want to stream of vizzes, just follow anybody in the data viz community, and you'll just be inspired, if not blown away or a little bit scared. Either way, it's great to be part of either one and both. I would suggest to leverage both if you can. And Chantilly and Eric, is there anything else that you would like to add regarding the community?
I first joined the community in 2016. I've been using Tableau since about 2010. And I first joined the community in 2016, and I would say that's really when I started to progress in my professional career, my data viz journey. It really came from the fact that I could see what other work individuals were doing, the projects, and get involved in those, that, you know, things started to pick up for me professionally. I said that once I joined the community, I actually had job offers from organizations that I wasn't even applying to, right? I made a community of friends who I keep in touch with now, you know, even after the conference, right? Eric and I met through the community, and just being able to attend the Tableau user group, right? So now I have a friend, or I even call him a brother, for life, right? So I always say, like, get involved in the community if you can. I know it's a bit scary at first, right? When I first started, there weren't as many people, but now there's way more people in the community. But get in the community if you can. If you have a mentor or somebody who's already in the community, you know, ask them to intro you, you know, help you join. If you don't, then there are avenues where you can get a community mentor, right? So there are like those avenues that you can go. But if you really want to network and grow and progress in your data viz journey, meet some new people, network, then I definitely recommend joining the community.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So,
I couldn't agree more. Man, you've been using it for 10 years. I didn't even know Tableau was that old, Chantilly. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. if it wasn't for the community, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. I mean, I started using Tableau as a student, but really didn't scratch the surface on the community until I went to my first conference and saw everybody was on Twitter tweeting about it, and just started, getting connected with different people. And then from there, it's just introduced me to a whole group of friends that I never thought I would have before. And they're all over the world. They're all awesome. They're super supportive. I mean, I love just opening up Zoom and, putting it out there and seeing who joins from the community and getting to, connect with my friends from all over the world. And, anytime you post a viz, they comment on it, they give you feedback, they support you. So it's just been, I couldn't even ask for anything better. It's so hard to explain the community to other people until you're a part of it. But, for those that are looking to get involved, I just joined blindly. I didn't really know anybody, and, everyone was open and accepting. And so I would say, don't be afraid, don't be discouraged, just start putting your things out there, and you'll start, getting to connect with more people and meet them. And, I haven't met anybody that's not supportive or friendly.
Hashtag definitely not a cult.
Yes, yeah.
Although
yeah,
it sounds like it as we're explaining that. But yeah, it's great. I guess another point I would add for Twitter is that it gives you more of a sense of what the community initiatives are. LinkedIn, there are community initiative hashtags and so forth, but you can see them very plainly if you're on Twitter and their impact and get an understanding of its context. So I guess that's another point I would add for Twitter if anybody wants to be part of the Twitter Data Fam community, but both are equally great for different reasons. So with that, thank you so much for your time getting up so early in the morning to be part of this. It'll be shared with everybody. And goodbye. This was great. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us.